just general, Dharma means phenomena. In Sanskrit term, right? Dharma means it's phenomena. And what is characteristics of phenomena? Says that something holds characteristics. That's how in the Dharma teachings, something has characteristics, and that's Dharma. And then within there, we can take it. In general, it has 10 different meanings in Sanskrit. Of course, Dharma is translated from Sanskrit into Tibetan. We do have 10 different meanings. When we say we are the Dharma practitioner, we are practicing Dharma, we are studying Dharma, right? Then there's two categories. One is the Dharma of scriptures that relate to the Buddha's teachings, and also his disciples or later as scholars, Greek Dharma practitioners, their teachings included Dharma of scriptures. And Dharma of scripture, we know it's related to the Buddha's teaching. Of course, before that, it's all originated in India, right? Dharma. And you can see terms as a Dharma, a Sanskrit term. And when Buddha was alive, there still, I think, has writing established, not widely in India. That means 2,600 something years. But most orally transmitted. He gives some lectures, teachings. Then others, they just go through, memorized, and then repeat it to their other disciples, right? And they have the ability to memorize. And at that time, there's no popularly writing down, taking notes or so forth. Even they have small writing skills established, but there's no paper, right, ink or so forth. So right now, we do have lots of things. And you can see some skin of skin for what do we call it? Wood. Yeah, small. It's a long process if you look at the human history, and still we have the big knowledge now. It's not started at the beginning. It's established a long period of time. And so then Buddha, and he gave amazing teachings. That's how he was extraordinary being, right? And before Buddha, there were many philosophers, different ideas, similar how we started in here, how we came here, and before in here, how we can live in this world, and after the death, what's going to happen. That's just human. It's naturally have lots of questions arising, and then different philosophies, different people has different opinions to explain these things. And Buddha was born in Hindu, we call it Hindu now, Brahmin style that at that time established in India. He was born there. So they have their own philosophies, own belief systems, right? But he didn't satisfy that. He was born. They're carrying some belief or religion, something. And he saw, that's why I'm just talking about how Dharma established, then we can talk about it for some specific topics. And sometimes, yeah, we have to know those topics, right? We as Dharma student, we are studying Dharma, and we can learn something, great beings, how he established it, how he found this amazing insight. And he's describing what is necessity for living in this world, what was happened in the past, and in the futures. That's kind of related to Dharma teachings today. And so he saw many problems, even though he has perfect, we can say, living situations, right? He has, good families. He doesn't have any physical problems, mental problems, anything. At this point, he's has perfect, healthy person, and well established his families, generations, royal family. Everybody respected, and so then he saw. This is sometimes we say, the problem is bring into the path. That's also he started, right? He saw the birth is suffering, it's a problem. Aging is a problem. Illness is a problem. Death is a problem. That's go through whole human beings, or all living beings. If you look at it, and largely everything has birth and aging. At some point, has illness and death. The end of the life. That's happened everywhere. If you look at four seasons, it is similar. That's repeating, and every living thing like trees and so forth it has all this cycle. It's not just human and something problems. And so then this idea how he left his palace, although he thought he living in the palace, well he was, but that's not beyond of the suffering. Sooner or later, he go through those process, right? And he looked in all the situations, the similar that's go through. His mother passed away, and others some problems. There's wars starting, and so then what he did is that he decided leave his home, search the answer, the remedy of the suffering. And he left his home, and he relied on few spiritual teachers. They gave some meditation instructions, for example. But he took that path. That path is extremist path, ascetic practice. And ascetic practice means that if you take hardship, some sort of punish for the body, and that way negative deeds go away, right? Kind of purified negative deeds. And the similar, still within Buddhism we do practice ascetic practice, not hardship, but take a vow on one day, for example. I think every other religious, Muslim and others, they do have that. Just only one day, not eating, they allow drink, and so forth, right? And if you do this, sometimes it brings clarity in the mind. And if you don't have a lot of food in the body, but too much and too little is the problems, extremist path. That is why he found the middle path. When he was this long period of time, ascetic practice with his friends, there's 5 his friends, right, together, and ascetic practice, and not eating, not drinking, and so forth. But And what we have to learn as Dharma students, anything, extremist path is a problem. Too much, too little, both is troubles. If you take it that as one's own anything situation, study, eat, sleep, or work, anything. Too much, too little, both it brings troubles. And here now we can move a little bit further. His teachings go through his life stories, right? And human being is based on this, his philosophies, and also we know that human being is a combination of mind and body. It's not new, you heard it many times, but we have to hear it, listen, and repeating and over again. That's where we can gain some sort of Dharma realization, understanding, right? And then some people just instantaneously understood some sort of certain circumstances. But most people, it's not like that. According to Dharma teaching, someone who has very strong merit support in the past and this present time, they instantaneously understand very quickly. But that's not occur for everyone. So therefore, when we study Dharma, we have to go through certain times and repeating over and over again. Here, human being is a combination of mind and body. That's why he established middle way philosophy. Before that, there's a permanent soul, right? That's belief before Buddha. And what he looked very carefully, saying that the self is not there permanent to exist something there. It's like a chariot. Chariot has many parts, put it together like a vehicle, like a car. It's not just one thing. Many things put it together, like house, brakes, and things. Put it together, something formed. Similar, thinking being has 5 skandhas. This form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, put it together, formed as its being. And here, the body is made of food, right? To stay, live healthy, well, we live. We can't make a permanent something. It's always aging. This is impermanence. It's always changing. Whether we want to change or not, we don't have control to do this. This is just natural reality, relatively. It's always moving and changing. We have to accept, but in the middle path, taking this middle path, is that not too much adding, which means eating, right? Particular unhealthy substance. And not too little. And so then here, of course, goal is it brings happiness. Happiness sometimes is related to this physical pleasure, right? It's temporary. If you're hungry, then when you eat, it brings pleasure, comfort. That's what we call happiness. If you're thirsty, drink a water, then it brings pleasure, right? That's what we call happiness. If you're cold and warm clothing or heat, it brings comfort. That's we call happiness. But if you add too much, importing the 5 elements that we call in the Dharma teachings. Earth element is a wind, right? Wind. And then heat, fire element, and then so forth. If you're adding too much, then it won't bring the huge pleasure or something. It says that it's a needed middle path. That's also, it's not really cost of happiness. If we rely on those elements, like water, for example, food is another thing, and those things, clothing. And if you're too much wearing clothing, because the weather like now, it won't bring pleasure. It's a burden. It makes troubles. If you are full of the stomach, then don't push adding more. Oh, this is very tasty, delicious something. Right? If you're adding more, then it will bring troubles. That's what I'm saying. Those things, it brings pleasure, but it has a limit. Not too much, not too little. If you not enough those elements in the body, then this body is not healthy. And when we study Dharma, we have to learn this middle path, if you can, It's a wise being who discovered this reality. Generally, we know it, sometimes need the mind, relying on those teachings. It's helpful. And so, he taught, we call it Abhidharma. There are lots of categories. And then we came here. It's not just instantaneously appears. It involved a lot of causes and conditions before we born here. That's our reincarnation, right? And that's a Buddha he saw. Many lives, we do have many lives in the past. This is one of it, present. And if we continuously do certain things, then it will go through many lifetimes. But our body, we know that, even in Dharma teachings, not describing, came from the early years. And some is related. The previous five skandhas, it's some very subtle way of related in here. That's what we call interdependence, right? Interdependent then exists is that the previous, these present five skandhas relate to the previous five skandhas. But previous five skandhas is not completely transmitted in here. The present five skandhas. I'm talking about body and the mind. And this present five skandhas of the body, mind, came, it's not appears without related to the previous five skandhas. That they use candle, or not candle, butter lamp. If you transmitted one butter lamp to the next, right, the flame is not just transmitted completely, first one move to the next, but still first one is burning, it's there. And also second flame of the butter lamp, that used butter lamp. And what kind of oil it is? Maybe butter or sesame seed. And it's not appears without in the previous ones. That's what we call interdependent exists. And here, our mind and body some way relate to the previous. I think these days, even some researchers talking about birthmark, right? Someone accidentally killed or something has a birthmark. Physically, I'm talking about. Mentally, there's lots of habitual patterns. So that's we can telling a lot in the Dharma teachings. Physically, there interdependent, very subtle connection exists. We don't see it. It's very hard to logically to discover. Some we do have evidence, right? Birthmark. Even there is a sensitive, something, itching or illness is carrying. And so, where we came from is that previous. That how Buddha described, how we started here. And then this life is part of our life, and it's lots of troubles. Physically problem, it's mentally the problems. Problem is just result, right? It's not. Then another part of the philosophy is that before Buddha, or during his lifetime, still, I think it's similar, has ideas. As all the troubles and the happiness or good fortune is depend on external beings, very powerful beings. If you're pleasing them, praise and or offering and pleasing them, then they grant it for us, right? If you displease them, then punishing. Buddha is saying that no, there's no external gives guarantee in our lives. Our life is dependent on our actions. Actions is matters. That doesn't mean that beings has some interconnected to help a little bit. We do have lots of offerings, definitely there's some way, but permanently, the main part of this is that our actions. That's related to the karma, right? If you want to make it better in our life, then we have to focus on our actions. Yeah, the actions is caused, then pain and happiness or a good fortune, something it's a result. Sometimes we do have good fortune occur without much effort in this time. Sometimes we put a lot of effort, not much show the great result, and the opposite. Those saying that relate to the previous some actions, karmas, we carry. It's happening. Whatever we do, that means that related to the speech, related to thinking, related to doing, it's creating karma. Which one's collecting those habitual patterns, saying that alaya consciousness, in the general consciousness, it's like a mirror, right? Whatever if you threw the mirror, it reflects and then collect it. It is similar, what called it, DNA kind of idea stuff. It's holding some things, patterns. Later, it's happening. That's in the, how Buddha is described. And so now here in the future, right? The future now. Yeah, maybe present life. If you want to make it better something, then the one is that we have to strengthen the physical exercise, the movement, so forth. But he was walking a lot, almost every day. After he eat, he wash the feet, hands, and the rest. Every day, holding baking bowl and and walking a lot. That's also physical kind of exercise. And the prostration, circumambulating, and so forth. But those, I'm just saying, physical exercise is a necessity if you can. Yoga is good for you. And we can't make a permanent something, but it definitely make it a little bit easier, make it better. And body is pretty much related to the mind. If you hurt, sick the body, then it's hurt your mind. Mind is not body, body is not mind. There's two phenomena, things that are going on. Sometimes there's people physically healthy, but mentally not healthy. And sometimes mentally not healthy, but physically not healthy, and so forth, right? Here we can talk about it further. I think everybody knows how to taking care of our body. As Buddha's philosophy is not too much, not too little. That need a discipline, right? Little by little, discipline. So if you do that, I think it's very, very helpful. And Buddha's one of his main focus is mind. Mind is very, very important. Mind is much subtler than speech. Of course, mind is much subtler than this physical body. Physical body, we see it. And if we ate something, we see it, right? And the speech is similar. If we say something, we can hear it. And the mind is moving very fast. Non-physical. Most people, we don't see. We see just facial expressions or speech or actions. Mind, it's very subtle. Saying this, everything what we do, the mind go move first, then acting. Mind is a controller of our body, or our speech. And some of the teachings describing mind is a have to soon stop. Mind is the king. Body in the speech, it's a subject. And so one of the main topic Buddha was teaching is that mind. If we don't take care of our mind, that means many ways we can describe. And general mind is like space. Young thoughts described as clouds, right? Sometimes you see mind is like ocean. Thoughts is part of mind. It's like waves. That's how we described. And so mind has two, that's as Dharma practitioners, if we don't know our mind, it's very hard to get rid of junk, unhealthy, mind stuff. We have very strong habitual patterns that described passion, aggression, and ignorance. This all mind. Jealous, envy, and wrong view. Those is the mind, right? And then positive, this mind, we do have faith, intelligent faith, joyful exertions, mindfulness, concentration or samadhi, and prajna, love and compassion, joy, equanimity. Those is a mental state. We do have positive part of mental state and negative part of mental state. And the negative part of mental states, that's just Buddhism psychology described. It's temporary. Although the positive mental state is also temporary too. But there is no such good or bad, right? Truly exists there something. And some mental states, some actions, brings a result is painful, unpleasurable. Some actions, that mental state brings the suffering, unpleasant. That's how we described. Certain things we have to avoid in order to avoid the suffering. Makes troubles. Then, passion, aggression, ignorance, jealous, envy, and wrong view, proud, arrogant. Those is temporary. It feel like it very strong when they're arising, and it's feel like it's a helping, right? In saying this, it's not helping. If you're angry and act with anger, you make big mistakes. Even anger arising in our mind, it's a destroyed peace state of mind. Even though anger, just taking example is anger, and it's poisoning our mind and body. We call it poison. Use poison. 3 poisons in the Dharma teachings. Passion, aggression, ignorance. It's the root of these other kleshas arising. And those unhealthy mental states is based on not understanding of the mind and this phenomena. That's why Buddha's main emphasis is that we have to understand what it is. Relative reality, absolute reality. We don't have to have the blind faith. We have to use our intelligence, right? Particular human has ability to do this. Because even our self doesn't have that completely ability to discover this phenomena, but like enlightened being, Shakyamuni Buddha, and others, they just explained what it is. First, Shakyamuni Buddha explained, then after that, his disciples analyze, examine it, practice. They have similar discovered, right? And then generation to the generations, and the same conclusion is the same thing. And these kind of mental states, actions brings problem. This kind of mental states, speech and mind, actions brings happy and healthy. And that's we have to study. And then mind has positive mental states and the negative mental states. If we emphasize the negative mental states, then it brings the negative mental state grows. It's controlled in our self. We have big problems, right? If we strengthening positive mental state, then that mental state grows, becomes stronger, and then we are mentally healthy, filled with wisdom. Okay, so then, and here, what is fundamentally? This mind is more positive than negative, or more negative than positive. Here says positive. If you don't add anything, just leave it alone, then it's a positive mental state, it grows. That's the meditation, right? Use example. It's like mind is right now like a muddy water. It's not what muddy water. It's pure water. yeah. So, says this example is like a muddy water of glass, right? If mind is like this, we have lots of junk thoughts. Sometimes we can't turn off. Just one junk thought brings another and another and another. It's disturbed our mind. It's like a muddy water of glass. How we can purify it? One, we can just, there are many ways. But here meditation, this technique says that you put it on the table, some places. Then mud is go down, and the water itself is purified, right? Similar, our mind, this body, relates together. Then this all thoughts will disappear. The mind is showing itself clearly, very peacefully resting. But peaceful resting itself brings pleasure. But from Dharma point of view, it's not completely path. Path is the end of the suffering, right? Suffering is based on ignorance, not knowing the reality. We have to understand the mind itself. And 45. I'm going to end very soon. Okay. And here we have to understand our mind. Then here it says this. One of the most important thing is that we have to understand one's own mind. In general, in this world, the people are well educated. We study a lot of things, skills, right? That's outside of the mind. And here's forget in our mind. Not much aware of it. And then if we feeding as negative stuff in our mind, it's a craving, grasping, and mind chasing this object. And and here says that's the problem. If you look at, then I think that's in the Dharma teaching saying that's as we have problems. As long as we are running that way, then it's endless. And then how we can turn off these negative thoughts and patterns. And it says this, we have to look at mind itself. If for example, mind is like clouds, it's a space, sky, then thought is like clouds. It came from the space, it will disappear in the space, right? Mind's like a mountain, thought is like trees or plants. It's not separated something, right? It came from, it grew from the mountain. So thoughts came from the mind, it will dissolve into the mind. We have to rest mind itself. And aware of mind itself, we can see mind is an emptiness. But we use terms, emptiness. Sometimes we see mind is union of awareness and emptiness. Right? That's inwardly mind looking mind itself. That's very important. Usually we judging and looking outwardly, right? Oh, this is a table, this is something, this is. But now, this method is that looking inwardly mind itself. If you do that, then you will see mind doesn't have shapes, colors, size. And yet, it's aware of it itself. That awareness is emptiness. Emptiness itself is awareness. It's inseparable. You understand that level of reality. At the same time, you are not grasping, holding on something. If you understand this, then you are eliminating ignorance, not knowing your mind, right? Thoughts rising, you are not chasing thoughts. Just letting go, it's automatically dissolved. Automatically dissolving, as we said, liberating. You are not bringing some method outside something, but itself is generally it's doing it. But now, if you're aware of it, then it disappears. You understood. Without this method, using these techniques, of course, thoughts is not always stay there. Arising, ceasing, we don't know it. If this method, then thoughts is nothing problems. The problem is we are just hooked, grasping, chasing. That's the Buddha's teaching saying that it's very important. We have to recognize the self, mind. If we do this, then we can find the wisdom within our mind. Okay, I think we have to stop there. A little bit too long. If you have some questions, please.